Hey everyone, this is Camille and Dee Dee. And we're back to talk about The Bachelorette episode 4. Dee Dee did it solo last week because I was a little under the weather. Juliet was traveling. So at least we're a duo today, if not a trio.
So much more fun. So talk about this and the shenanigans of the Bachelorette.
Brown, exactly. Okay, so I am continuing to be amazed by the shenanigans that are going on. Like, is every episode going to be continued at the end?
Apparently.
And next week is like a double episode? I mean, what's going on? But there's been plenty of drama, so we can sort of get into that. And so if you're watching this for the first time, we are the Spinsters Union. So we are unmarried ladies talking about the Bachelorette and also just all things dating relationship, because even if you're not watching the Bachelorette itself, I mean, there's lots of things that sort of happen in the course of it that if you're dating or you're in a relationship, bring up some interesting issues. So
lots of interesting issues. And as you know, I've been sort of the, I don't want to say unwilling participant.
The hate watcher. I mean, let's just call it what it is, Dee Dee. That's what you've been, okay? Julie, you're gobbling this up like candy, and Dee Dee's like, puh, broccoli.
Exactly. I'm like, and I actually like okra. I don't know.
You're Southern, Dee Dee. Okra should be an enjoyable thing to you. No, too slimy.
Too slimy, unless it's fried. But everything tastes better fried. So
that's true.
Oprah included. So I've turned a corner.
Oh.
I think I might have. And I think what also helped me turn that corner is I've been watching this, watching the series sober. I've been on a little quest to get some winter weight off, so I've pushed back on the, the drinking. But last night I had a carb cave in. I had pizza and rosé, lots of rosé, and I was into it. I was into it.
I see. All right. Well, I think similar to the men on the show who definitely seem to be imbibing quite a bit.
They do, which would explain a lot of the, I guess, bravado, just straight shenanigans. So why don't we start with how the show actually opened?
Yes.
With Rachel having that breakdown, that just all of her emotions coming to the surface, as you would imagine. I mean, she's otherwise so sort of happy-go-lucky and no nonsense and super positive. And even I think if she weren't dealing with the gravity of being the first Black Bachelorette, it's still super emotional to put yourself out there in that way, no?
Yeah, no, definitely. And, I think clearly there are guys that she is into,
I'm into him too.
Okay, look.
That Dean, even though he's young enough to be my son, woo!
I said in the first, episode or so when he, did that whole, once you go Black, you never go back thing. I was like, I roll. But now Dean is one of my favorites. Like,
I have to clutch my pearls on Dean.
I know. He was talking about his mother and
so cute.
A lot, yes. Yeah, I think there's a lot. She clearly is taking this seriously. Like not only the process, but also that she's chosen to do this, and that these men are here choosing to do this too. And so taking seriously, like, who goes home, and what kind of conversation and tension, happens in the house, definitely seems to be something she's really affected by, and understandably so.
And understandably so. I mean, and not for nothing, I think it feels like, I mean, of course, and as Black women, we both know that the race is going to come up. Race is going to come up eventually. There's no way we were going to get away unscathed.
No.
I have mixed feelings about that. Part of me really wishes that were the case. Like, it would never come up because she's just herself.
Yeah.
Not just her Black self, but just herself.
Right.
But then there's a part of me that feels like there's an opportunity there to maybe address a few things. So I have very mixed feelings about it, but I certainly can relate to the emotional weight. I think, and again, as always, I think she handles herself so beautifully, so authentically. And that's what continues to, even though I was like hate watching in the beginning, that's what continues to inspire me is her. Like, there's like nothing not to like nothing. She just is. And as somebody who tends not to be super vulnerable or put themselves out there in that way, I definitely appreciate and admire that about Rachel and some of the contestants.
Right. Yes. Well, we can get to them. Yes. Yeah, no, I love Rachel. And I think before I was sort of like, like, oh, she's a girlfriend in my head. And now, like, I mean, I'm straight, but I would totally be in that house trying to I love her. She's amazing. She's great.
Yeah, she knows how to have a good time. I will say, I just want to address that Lee situation.
Yeah.
I'd like to say there's absolutely no way the producers of this show and ABC did not check his email. Like, there's just, I mean, his Twitter feed. Like, we know that this is a storyline. It has to be that was put in place to create a little more drama and interest. And that's kind of a bummer. Like, there's no way they didn't do their due diligence. And if they didn't, then shame on them. They've been at this for 13 seasons.
Yeah, right. So for those of you who maybe have not heard about this, apparently there were some tweets from Lee that I guess have since been deleted, but that he said some racist things.
Yeah, he basically likened the Black Lives Matter movement to terrorists.
Right.
And he
even more right to the KKK. I mean,
well, that was the NAACP. And what's the difference?
Oh, and that was right.
There's hoods.
Right.
So give me a break. And it just bothers me because it's like, I'm Southern. You're kind of Southern because DC is below the Mason-Dixon line, but I'm Southern. I'm from Alabama, and we're always getting that. And not that it's not rightly deserved. I mean, the South has earned its reputation as being a racist place, but there's so much more to it than that. So it really bothers me that, like, that whole thing about being from the South sort of perpetuates itself, that you have, just, I don't know. It really, really bugs me. But I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's time for him to go anyway. Because
exactly. I completely
13-year-old girl. Anyway.
It does. I was so hoping she was going to get rid of him. I was just like, and look, the other three guys are not even, it wasn't like any of the three of them. I was like, oh no, keep Diggy, whatever. He's fine, but I was just like, get rid of Lee.
Boy, bye.
But yeah.
So ready for him to go. So ready for him to go. I just am. Like, there could be a different storyline. I don't know. It's time for him to go.
Yeah. Well, and clearly there's guys in the house, like Kenny, who are getting caught in Lee's whole drama, typhoon.
I'm not a huge fan of his, but
I will say at the end of the day, I'm probably, like Kenny's maybe not my top 5, but I do, like him considerably more than Lee, first of all.
100%.
And I do, I think he's a good guy. I do
too. It's actually, he's clearly a devoted father. It's not that I shouldn't say I'm not a big fan of him. Again, he's putting himself out there in a way that, in the way that I haven't, or, a lot of people haven't. So I have to give all of them kudos for that. So I shouldn't say that I'm not a fan of his. it's just funny to see these guys running around beating their chest. And of course, you know, he's very alpha male. Look at what he does for a living.
Yeah.
I would definitely choose him over 13-year-old middle school girl Lee. We should call him Leanne. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so who are your top 5 right now?
Probably purely based on, oh gosh, I was going to say purely based on looks because you know how shallow I am.
It's true, I do. I know that about you. Yeah.
There's a lot of man candy on that show, and I'm like, oh, where's the 50-year-old version of these people? I'm a huge fan of Dean. Obviously, he's so sweet. He's so cute. I think it feels like his heart's in the right place.
Well, and didn't you love their date? I felt so bad for him being afraid of heights and then going up in that blimp. But then he, like, you know, conquered his fear and got in the pilot seat, and it was really adorable to see him
step up.
Yes, be able to.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with that because that is, I don't have a fear of heights necessarily, but I could see how that would just be, if you're really afraid of like a legitimate like phobia.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then you go in a blimp, like.
Yikes. Yeah. I really love their date. I thought, again, the sense of fun that she brings to these dates is something that I have to remember. So last night, this is very timely because last night I met this woman who is a relationship or dating coach. And I booked a consultation with her.
Okay.
As you know, my dating life has been non-existent.
Well, actually, Dee Dee Brown, you had a dating challenge, but I'm
working on it. It's a slow buildup for me.
Okay.
And we had a very lengthy conversation about my dating, why I haven't been, expectations. Okay. And one of the things that she said that also Rachel completely embodies is that she's lighthearted and she has fun. I typically even go into a phone conversation because the only way that I've really even meeting people is I joined Bumble again, and you know, the perpetual.
Yeah. Right.
And so when I do connect with someone and then it actually morphs into a phone call, which is actually super, super rare, as you can imagine. Mm-hmm. People connect and they fall off, blah, blah, blah. I fall off, I get bored. There was a guy that I connected with, and we were talking over the course of a week. And because he was out of town, and our first conversation, we did like a decent conversation. It wasn't mind blowing. He wasn't particularly like hilarious but it was a decent conversation. Yeah. And he seemed like, you know, a grown up, he was mature. I was like, nice. We talked about like getting together when he got back. So, and he was very proactive about being in touch as he was gone. And for me, I'm just like, I don't really want to talk on the phone. Like if we could, and this is just some of my control issues probably, I'm like, dude, just freaking ask me to have coffee with you when you get back. And I don't have to have all these ridiculous phone conversations. So I literally would enter into each phone conversation like, get to the point. Mm-hmm. And so sort of what the dating coach reminded me of is that you think you might be playing that off, but that energy is felt. And I'm sure it was. Right. You know, and so I look at, and you know, just bringing us back to how Rachel inspires me, is, yeah, I'm sure it's got to be somewhat daunting to be surrounded by, like, it looks like it's fun to be surrounded by all those guys, and to put that positive energy and sense of fun and whimsy into those dates. But I'm sure she doesn't always feel like it. Yeah. But you would never know that, and you can just, and I was like, oh, boom. It's supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to enjoy getting to know someone. Right. So I'm very inspired to do this. If I ever get past a couple phone calls with people.
I believe that you will, Dee Dee Brown. I have faith.
I will.
You happen.
So wait, can I just tell you my favorite part of the entire show, which is so cheesy? The spelling bee. That's Maggie. Was everything to me.
And I was very aware when I was watching it. I was like, yeah, some of these guys would have been cut. Like, I don't know that I would have kept Kenny that he couldn't spell champagne. I would have been like, I think this is done. But I've also said that I'm that person who, like, if you don't capitalize and use whole words in text messages, like, it's done. Like,
well, given what you do for a living,
It's true. I'm a writer. I'm an editor. It's just, it sets off all sorts of alarm bells in me.
The bar is already set really high. So I'm an okay, like, speller. I've gotten worse as I've gotten older because I'm like skipping.
Well, you're not tested, right? Like, yeah.
Right.
Great,
But oh my God, I giggled through that whole. I mean, I laughed out loud at so much of it. I wouldn't know how to spell boutonniere either, and that guy's really smart. What's his?
Oh yeah, who was spelling boutonniere? Now I can't remember.
He's the super super smart one. I think he's like the Fulbright fellow, or
the black guy who's
that was on the cowboy date with her.
Yeah. I know, what's his name? Anyway, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my favorite part. I love that. I love that date. I mean, again, it was a little cheesy. I love that date, but it was just, I don't think it was appropriate to have those kids there. Even spelling words like passion and Josiah's shenanigans. Oh my God, that man. Okay, so let's get back to the top 5.
Okay, yes.
Top 3.
So Dean's in your top. Who else is there?
I guess Peter, because they have such a great time together.
I like Peter. And as I said, well, the time that Julie and I did the recap, being in a relationship with a man who has a gap, Peter and his gap, I love it. It's just, I'm a fan of it.
I'm not a super big fan of that, but they both do. I just think they're beautiful. She's beautiful.
No,
She's going to look good with anybody because she's just a gorgeous.
No, but Peter's tall. I like the touches of sort of gray. Like,
I like it too. The chemistry's great.
And he's older, which, look, Dean is also my top 5, and I like him. And frankly, I think the fact that he, unfortunately, lost his mother probably did mature him faster, So in some ways, he's probably not your typical 25-year-old.
No.
But I do have, some like, and, from my own dating history, I remember there was a point where I was like, it's fine, where I was fine with dating someone younger. And then there was a point where I was like, no, I'm not anymore. Because, I was like, if I'm looking for something more committed, I get if you're 25 and you just want to sort of be, out and, dating. So the fact that Peter's older too, I, like and makes me think maybe they could have a longer, lasting thing. So,
and she is licensed to practice in Wisconsin.
I know. When she said that, I was like, well, she'd go up to Madison. Not that many Black folks in Madison, but maybe, Rachel would have tapped to be fine.
Yeah, no, she's not moving to Madison. He can move where she
be fine moving someplace else. Okay, so Dean, Peter, who else is there? You said about Josiah, so it sounds like he's not.
Well, no, I was a big fan of his in the beginning. I really was. I think I'm not sure again, there's so much bravado and machismo between these guys. They're all like alpha male. Is that really who he is? When we first meet him, he didn't come across that way, but increasingly we're seeing him be more, what's the word? I don't want to say outrageous. More braggadocious, more, I'm beating my chest kind of thing. And that could be because of the alcohol. That could be, I'm not really sure. I do think he genuinely is into her though. Like, I was a big fan of his at the first episode. I was like, that's my guy.
Yeah.
That's my guy. There's a guy, I can tell you who I'm not into, and I know we just jumped. You know who else has to go? Because he's also a 13-year-old girl in middle school. Iggy,
I was gonna say, yes. No, I agree. What are you doing? Like, when he's called him like a gossip queen and and some of that I'm like, okay, let's not, feminize him because he's talking about other people. But I was like, yeah. and it doesn't even seem like they have a connection. You know, like I think at this point he's just been getting by because he seems, you know, is like a nice enough guy, and you know,
he's clearly a super nice guy.
yes,
No two ways about that. The approach is wrong. You stop focusing so much on what other guys are doing and use your time strategically.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like you are, you know, haven't been on any single dates with her. You're always in these group dates. At least, at the very least, when you get these moments before the rose ceremony, like talk about yourself, talk about her, talk about what you could be together. But here you are, like, you know, I think Josiah is not here for the right reasons. Okay, well, let her figure that out.
She'll figure it out. She'll figure it out. I'm sure he's gonna go next week. Like,
yeah, I know. I mean, it's true. As you get down to more and more, it's like, yeah, you can't get by again with just being a nice guy. Like, there needs to be something happening here.
Yeah, something compelling that,
yeah,
connecting them together. So who else do I like? I'm a huge fan, and maybe just because he's so hot.
Yeah,
Alex, the one with the dimples, the tall one.
Oh, yes.
Writer, so hot.
Yes.
So hot. And it cracked me up on the Ellen. Like, he was so into that that striptease on the Ellen show.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
They seem to have good chemistry. He hasn't like floated above the fray.
I was gonna say, because I feel like this episode he was sort of just in the background, you know, which may be fine for right now, you know, and maybe he's not necessarily in the top, but maybe he's still making the cut, you know. But definitely next time he would have to kind of make some more strides ahead. Well, you know who I also really, Brian, you know, the Colombian guy who kissed her before, and they had that night, she was saying, like, I don't know if this is for real, or I get nervous and maybe it's not, but he's so cute. Enjoy the way he kisses. So
yes, I was a fan of his. What's the personal trainer's name? Eric? How do you feel about, is his name Eric? The trainer who went off the rails last week about putting, was it Iggy having?
Yeah, right. So, you know, I still don't know, because, so the thing is, especially from last week, I mean, I think Lee is a jackass, right? So, you know, but I did also have some concerns about the way Eric approached it. You know, there were also some ways I was like, I don't know, man, like, you seem to be doing maybe something here that's also not good. But I think, to your point, especially even when what you were saying about Josiah, you know, some of this is also, I think, the way that insecurity shows up for men. You know, that instead of like the way women might be more like, you know, well, I'm going to go over here and be quiet, or, you know, sort of process emotions, or I think men sort of like push out, you know, push people, yell at people, you know, that they respond with, like, you know, the machismo and the ego. So I think that was definitely present with Eric last week. And I think that's also what happened in some with Kenny and with Josiah this week too.
I feel that it's a lot to keep and they also express a lot of emotion. A lot of them have, you know, certainly been, you know, tearful. Yeah. And that's actually great to see. I've seen a few other video recaps where people just sort of make fun of the fact that a lot of these guys are very emotional. And I'm like, that's actually great to see that, and very refreshing. What's not so refreshing is the like middle school drama. That is a different kind of emotion that's not needed, but crazy. Yeah. How did they, so when it ended, I gotta say, I was sad. I was like, wait, what just happened? Also, I was out of rosé. So
so there was that sadness too. Yes.
So I was like, the show ended? The rosé's done? Oh, I guess my night's over. I'll start rumbling. Actually, it was more like this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I was also like, wait, is it over? Because
Yeah.
yeah. I also was ready for more, actually.
Yeah, it ended
Well,
abruptly, I feel like.
it's Monday and Tuesday,
Good
so
night. I mean,
it's gonna be a lot of recapping next week.
it's going to be a lot of rosé next week. Sabotaging my diet.
Whatever gets you through, Dee Dee Brown. Whatever gets you through.
I'm telling you, it's rosé and probably the pizza. That stupid diet that I'm on is like no carb. So I went on a carb binge last night, and it rocked my world in conjunction with the Bachelorette, I have to say. Rosé, lots of carbs, and the Bachelorette.
I know, it's like, so was it the carbs, the rosé, or the Bachelorette that really?
Combination of all three.
All right, so next week we'll know. Make sure that you have your rosé and some carbs to make so that you can fully enjoy both nights of the Bachelorette next week.
I don't know if I can have carbs 2 nights in a row, though.
Uh-oh, I know. So one of those nights we're going to be hate watching, and then one of the nights you'll actually enjoy it.
Most likely.
All right, well, that's fair. One out of two ain't bad, Dee Dee.
Well, maybe even by the time we do next week, maybe I will have gone out on a date. I'm going to try to circle back.
Okay. Yes.
The person who I sort of lost interest in. It wasn't that. It was just like I actually have the Bumble app on another phone, and so the Bumble app on another phone.
You have multiple phones? What are you, CIA?
It's like what I do our social media on. So
okay, gotcha.
So I don't have enough room on my primary phone.
Oh, well, look, I understand. Yeah, Apple is telling me currently you need more storage. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I don't always have it on or with me, and so I forget. And then I go on. I was like, oh, I've been on this thing for 20 minutes, and for what? But now that it's summertime in New York, it's time to be out and about.
Yes, this is prime time, Dee Dee Brown.
And I'm taking all my lessons I'm learning for Rachel to be lighthearted and fun and real.
Yes. I think those are good lessons.
And vulnerable. Do you want to see my vulnerable look? No? Does that not scream vulnerability?
Yes. No, it absolutely does.
Great. All right, dating world, I'm coming for you this week.
Next date. Yeah.
Coming for you. Coming for you.
All right, Dee Dee. Any last thoughts?
No last thoughts. Again, I always want to end things, of course, on a positive note. And I say good on Rachel, and I think I said it the last video that we did and before that, good on her. And may we all be as brave and heart forward in our dating lives and in our lives in general.
Woo! Oh, snap that up, Dee Dee. Yes, I agree. Well, I am looking forward to next week.
I am too.
And maybe I'll take a cue from you and get some rosé for myself too. So
and some carbs.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely carbs. Yes, definitely. All right. Till next week. Hope
definitely check us out at thespinstersunion.com, and you can find on Instagram at Spinsters Union, and also be sure to like our YouTube page. We'd love to hear your comments in the comment section, and we do respond to those. Have a great week, Bachelor Nation!